July 7th, 2020. How's it going, guys? Well, I've tried to make this 2 times in a row so far, and I've run out of memory, so maybe the third time will be a charm, huh? Okay, well, we found out I replaced the alternator, but guess what, guys? It did not stop the light from being on. And you don't want to just let something go like that, because if that's on, there's a problem somewhere, and it needs to be refixed, no matter what. 9 times out of 10, 2 things are not going to burn out at once. Usually it's one problem, so you want to be consistent and fix that problem, especially if it's electrical, because if you don't, you're going to have bigger problems later on, or you're going to get stranded somewhere. So let me get right to it here before I run out of memory here again. So what I did, next thing, since we've got a brand new alternator on it, we've got a brand new battery, because you remember the car lost power. And I mean, it lost almost all power. So which indicated first that the battery, it wasn't no battery. We thought it was a battery that was bad. It wasn't. So the alternator, basically, 9 times out of 10, you figure, well, the alternator drained the battery. We went ahead and replaced that. Definitely check your lines, make sure that you don't have any broken connections too. I mean, common sense is common sense here if you're going to be doing any of this kind of work. I knew I'd already been through this car pretty much, looked at everything. Everything looked fairly good already on it. So next thing, got thinking about, well, what could it be? The computer? Okay, so I spent about 8 to 10 hours doing some reading and looking on YouTube videos, stuff. Nobody had a great deal. There was one gentleman that showed how basically to go in and actually check this with a lab scope on a voltmeter. And I don't even know, I tried to find where you could buy one like he had. I couldn't even find that thing, so I don't know where he got it. But anyway, there's 3 wires here that go down to the alternator. There's a red, there's a white, and there's a green, or it can look kind of bluish. That red is hot on this model all the time going down there. Now when you check these, you want to check these as it's running on the voltmeter, okay? I didn't have a lab scope, so I couldn't check that center one, but I knew that both sides on the red and the white was supposed to have power going through it. And if the white or one of the other ones does not, then you need to trace it back and find out why. It could be the regulator, it could even be the computer. But let me explain something real quick about that other line. If you have that, and you do have the ability to look at that, if you got a constant kind of like wave, it kind of looks almost like a rectangle going up and down, and it's even, it tells you that the computer actually is halfway functioning okay, and trying to talk to the alternator basically and regulate it, okay? And that's what he was showing on his video. So we didn't have that, so I checked the other side, and we had power on both sides. So I kind of thought, well, it's probably not the regulator, it's probably not the computer, so what else could it be real quick? So, start looking a little bit more here at all this. I cleaned the terminals up here too, well, they weren't really dirty that much, but there was corrosion up here a little bit on that. Also, I want to make the fact too that back here, I cleaned the plug. What I did, I sprayed if you want to get rid of that corrosion, get you some like vinegar, spray into that plug, and then just kind of blow that plug out, let it soak for a couple minutes and blow it out. That'll get any rid of that corrosion or anything out of there. And that will clean it out, kind of eat all that stuff up. If you don't want to go out and buy an expensive can of spray cleaner and stuff. Anyway, so make a long story short, after going through all this and everything, and we were reading about 14.8, high most of the time, what they said was high. Now if you go into this manual, it actually shows up to, I think it said 15.5. Anything over about 15, it could be overcharging. It used to be about 13.5 to 15 was a range, but it depends on the vehicle. And I mean, you have to get specific on all this, okay? I was noticing Harbor Freight, their deal shows anything over 14 on one of those little $4 testers that you would clip on. is showing a high. It was showing high, and that's not good. You don't, one thing to be on a, make a long story short, you don't want anything discharged in the battery. As long as that alternator is producing more power and can take the load of anything, whether your headlights, wiper blades, fan blower, and it doesn't pull it under like 12.8, you're probably going to be okay. But you should be running about around 13 something, 13 and a half or whatever on all of it. But real quick now, I'm going to hurry. So I'm sitting here, got this all clean, and my son's in the car. I had him start it back up. I'm checking it again. Got the voltmeter here on this. Let's put this in here real quick. I'm going to show you guys something real quick and try to hurry so I don't run out of memory. What do we got? 12.89. There's where we are right now. Okay. So why don't you go start that up real quick, Dylan. See what, when this draws down, it'll probably drop to about 11, and just for an instant, and then pop back up. And it just popped back up. It did. Now he's got the high speed. Turn the fan blower down to 2 halfway. Okay. So we're reading about 14.42 on it. Give it a little bit more gas. All right. So that's where we are right now. Now, flip it back up all the way on the max on the fan blower. That's not too bad. But anyway, so we're sitting here. I've cleaned these off and everything. I had my hand down here, and I touched this. You can see this down here, this ground right here. And all of a sudden, the voltmeter drops, and everything drops to 10 volts. Why would that be? Well, maybe that ground wasn't doing what it was needing to do. So anyway, I cleaned this, and guess what happened, guys? The light went off. And it stayed off. And we've been driving this car now for about 6 hours. We haven't had no problem with it. I like to make sure you can drive it for about 40 hours on and off, and then you don't have no problem. Then you know you don't have a problem. But I keep checking back. But anyway, what I was going to tell you, this is another ground here too. It's really important. It should be cleaned. I went ahead and cleaned that one too down in here. On this, you can just take these 3 little screws off right here. And you want to take it off, and you can get into this. Definitely clean this one and this one first if you have a problem with that light. I would go there directly first, and then, you know, like I say, see if these need to be cleaned. But definitely this was the culprit on this one this time. Just take a wire brush, clean them up. I sprayed them down even with a little bit of vinegar, let them soak for about 2 minutes. Scrub them down again, wash them down again, and then put them back on. And that solved the problem. So, you see where we're running. This is a 2.0 on this one. And it's running, what, right now? I mean, he's got everything pretty much on. That's not bad, 13.8. Make sure I turn the headlights on too. Let's see where it drops. There we go. We got everything on now. Another indication too is if, like at nighttime, if you got your headlights on and you see them dim down, up and down, that can also be a sign of either not a good ground or your regulator and the alternator is not functioning properly. That's something else you want to check. But like I say, those 2 grounds here, you definitely want to check out. Make sure you get to. One other thing, guys, on the videos that I made, I forgot to say one other thing. This one bolt here with had the 2 nuts on it. This takes a little special socket. This one top bolt has to come out to be able to get the alternator out. The bottom ones do not, the bottom ones don't. The bottom one bolt comes out, but the other one with the stud, you can leave that one on. Save you some time there, guys. But anyway, I think we got it all taken care of. It seems to be working good. And that should do it on the car, hopefully. And oh, one other thing. This alternator that I purchased on eBay, because most of the automotive places around here wanted $160 to $209 for them. I gave $78. This one came in from California, $78. It was a 110 amp alternator, and doing fine. So anyway, guys, have a good one.